So this week we're going to get into scheduling information. There are a few models that are not scheduling this week, and so let's get into some of the terminology so everybody kind of knows real quick. Do this each week. Don't forget that what we're talking about here in this part of the video is scheduling information and scheduling notes that the factory has given to the dealers to help get the orders scheduled. And those orders are placed in the order bank. So that is where stock and retail orders are placed. A retail order is a customer placed order, whereas a stock order is an order placed by a dealer for stock or lot inventory if they don't have any retail orders, but they have allocations. We'll talk about it in a second. A priority code is a priority given. A dealer gives to the orders. Retail is always the lowest. It's like golf, lower the better. So they can be put in anywhere from an 03 to 19. And then stock ones are 20 to 80. And then scheduling, that is when Ford schedules an order for production dates in future months. So that's what we're talking about here is we'll talk about which models are scheduling and for what production dates they're scheduling for. And then usually they'll schedule to the week. And then when it gets closer, you'll get a schedule to the day. Dealers usually see that. Customers may not always see that. But they can ask the dealer and they can always share that with them. Allocations, that is that Ford gives dealers allocations to schedule their orders. So, so a dealer needs an allocation to schedule an order in the order bank, whether it be a stock or a retail order, an allocation is needed. A dealer earns those allocations from their sales of each model within their region. So a dealer that sells a lot of F-150s will get a lot of allocations. So they're kind of rewarded for their sales volume. Constraints, those are options that may be in short supply or take longer to build. So if the capacity is a certain number, but the demand is higher, that causes a constraint. Or if a supplier can't provide enough parts for a particular option, then that causes a constraint. Capacity is the planned production rate of the particular motor, trim, option, that kind of thing. And even a model in general. And then job 1 and job 2, that is production run within a model year. We're going to actually talk about that a little bit later as well when we talk about some things that are coming up for F-150 for job 2. So they'll split those into two different ones for different reasons. One of them may be that at the beginning of the model year, they weren't ready to be able to provide a certain option or something like that to them. So they have a job 2 once it's available to shift over and then start production. So their order guides are based on job 1 order guide or job 2 order guide. All vehicles are built based on the order configuration by the order guide, not what build and price on the Ford website looks like. Balance out, that's the end of production, balancing out of a particular option or model, which they're getting close to on a couple models here coming up. There we go. All right. So let's get started by talking about the 24 model year Mustang. There we go. All right. So 24 model year Mustang, the order banks are open up to place a 24 model year Mustang if you want to. And there's currently 897 unscheduled retail orders. Again, retail is customer placed order. Last week there were 823, so they did schedule some. Some people might have ordered as well, so you're going to see some being ordered. And just because you see, like last week there was 823, and this week there's 897. You see a difference of like 70 or so. That doesn't mean they only scheduled 70, because if a dealership didn't have a retail order, then they might have had some stock ones scheduled. Their planned allocation or planned production for March is 2,900 units, which is what they're scheduling for this week. They're doing what they call cleanup scheduling. And cleanup scheduling means that if there's a dealer that has allocations that haven't been fulfilled yet, they want to clean that up, and then they fill in the slots of what they can schedule for. So they're scheduling for the weeks of March 4th through March 25th. Exhaust availability for the Mustang Night Pony package, as well as option 64F, which is an 18 by 8-inch machine face aluminum wheel with a high gloss ebony painted pockets. Something to note that I haven't been mentioning each week that I kind of pulled off the scheduling information for March production is that don't forget, if you want the GT Performance package, that is a retail only order, so dealers can't have any stock GT Performance pack. And then their planned rate for March is 2% of the California special. So if you're waiting for California special, it might take a little longer because that capacity is only 2% on those for the month of March. All right. I don't think I have anything else for Mustang. All right, moving on to the 24 model year Escape. The order banks are open up for the Escape if you want to place an order. There's currently 380 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Last week there was 334, so they did get some scheduled. Their planned production for March is 5,800 units with 225 plug-in as well. And then they are not scheduling this week for the Escape model. So, all right. 24 model year Bronco Sport. Order banks are open up right now for all configurations. For that, currently there's 192 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Last week, I think it was 184, so they did schedule some. Their planned production is about 3,000 units, which is kind of low for the Bronco Sport. And I'll tell you why, because again, it's a note that I saw on the information for us for the month of March is that they're going to schedule 0% Big Bends, 0% freewheeling with the convenience package. So if you want a freewheeling, you can't have the convenience package. 0% Badlands, so they're not scheduling Badlands this month or for the month of March. Outer Banks with the tech package. So the only Outer Banks they're going to schedule is the ones without a tech package. And then the Big Bend with the black appearance package. No black appearance package are getting scheduled. So when we see over here is the note, they are cleanup scheduling for weeks of March 4th to March 25th. They are not scheduling Badlands. We know they're not scheduling Big Bend. They're not, and it says limited availability for the black appearance package. That's because their plan was that they weren't going to schedule any this month. Exhaust availability for the 2.0, that's only available in the Badlands, so we know that. The tech package on the Outer Banks, again, according to the notes for the beginning of the month, we knew that. And then it says the all-season tire as well. So really, if you're looking to get a Bronco Sport, you have an order in there. The best configuration, really the only thing they're scheduling right now, it looks like to me, is freewheeling without the convenience package and Outer Banks without the tech package. That's about the only options we have. They're not scheduling Big Bends or Outer Banks, Badlands. I'm sorry. And so keep that in mind as well when you're looking at that and thinking about that. They didn't mention anything about the Copilot 360 Assist Plus package, so that one's okay on the freewheeling, just not the convenience package. So anyway, so they're probably not going to have a lot to fit into that unless a dealer has an order like something like that. So, all right, moving on. 24 model year Edge order banks are open for stock ordering. They are closing February 9th is when they're going to close the order bank for the Edge. So get your orders in with your dealers if you want to place it. They may have to place a stock order. I thought the order bank, it says retail closed on 10/27, but I know they opened it back up for a while and didn't update this. So there may be retail order bank may be open, or the dealer may have to put in a stock order for you, either one. But you have till, looks like they're going to close it completely February 9th. That's a note on here from the factory. So currently is 313 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Last week there was 276. Their planned production for March is 8,250 units. They are doing scheduling this week, cleanup scheduling. Again, dealers that have allocations, scheduling for production weeks of the week of March 11th through the weeks of March 25th. And then ST is closed. So it is balanced out completely. So when we talk about balanced out, means they're done. They're not making any more, they're not scheduling any more Edge STs. Also exhaust availability for the 201A, that's the Edge SEL version, as well as the 18-inch split spoke sparkle silver painted aluminum wheel. A lot of S's in there. That is option 64F, which I think is the standard one on the SE, if I remember right. Anyway, all right. I don't think I have anything else there. Moving on to the 24 model year Ranger. Order banks are open up for the 24 model year Ranger. And there's currently 1,588 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Last week, there was 1,575. So probably what happened is we saw some people put in orders and some got scheduled. Their planned production for March is 3,500 units, as well as 700 Raptors. They are not scheduling this week. So, and there really aren't any constraints on anything. Remember, if you're wanting a Raptor to get scheduled, your dealer has to have an allocation. So, like for us, so far all dealers have only received one allocation. We still have yet, again, it's an update for this week, still not seen any information for Ford when we're going to get more allocations. So like we had one order already and one allocation, so we're holding off on placing any more Raptor orders because we don't have any allocations. We don't want to mislead any customers out there. So you might talk to your dealers if you have a Raptor order placed and find out if they've already scheduled their one lone Raptor allocation. They may not even realize that they're only getting one at this point. And maybe they just assumption is they're going to get more down the road. And maybe that's why they're taking more orders. But something to keep in mind, without an allocation, it's not going to get scheduled. So they're not going to schedule every order in the order bank just because it's in there. All right, moving to 24 model year Bronco. See, order banks are open up for most trim levels of the Bronco, with the exception of the Heritage and Heritage Limited. So those are closed. Cannot order those. And then there's currently 5,365 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Last week it was 5,775, so they scheduled some. I know we had 4 Heritage Edition 2-doors that got scheduled last week. So good news for Heritage Edition. I think Everglades also was getting scheduled last week, as well as some Raptors. So hopefully everybody that had those Heritage Edition 2-door orders in there have been waiting. Hopefully they got scheduled. Their planned production for March is 8,000 units, also an additional 1,150 Raptors, and 358 Heritage Limited Edition is the production rate. Now, one thing I hadn't mentioned last couple of weeks that I did in a special video that I did was that the plan for this most months, there's a certain capacity that they plan for on most options, but for March, their planned production for hardtops is 65%. For the 2.7 liter engine, it's 45% capacity. So that was higher. It was like 65% normally. So they are cutting back 2.7 liter production a little bit for Bronco for March. And so that might affect those people with 2.7 liters. Shouldn't. I think everything should be fine. And then 35% for Sasquatch instead of 40%. Again, probably won't impact a lot of people with only 5,000 orders in there when their planned production is 8,000 units. So everybody should be okay there. The biggest deal is whether or not a dealer has an allocation that you place an order with. That's the big point anymore, because a lot of people are like, no, why can't they schedule all of them? Again, has to do with your dealer. If they don't have an allocation, but they have an order, they can't get it scheduled. So then it carries over to the next month, which they hope they get an allocation to take care of that order, right? So like for us, we have 8 allocations for the rest of this month, and we have 6 retail orders. So in that case, all 6 of those should get scheduled this week. And then we still have 2 leftover allocations to use towards stock unless we get another retail order. So that's for us, we're in a good position. But for some people, some dealers, it might just be the opposite. They may have 6 allocations and 8 orders. Well, 2 people aren't going to get scheduled then. They'll get carried over to the next month, whereas some dealers are going to get stock allocations or stock orders scheduled because they don't have enough orders. So hopefully that makes sense there. They are scheduled for the weeks of 3/4 through 3/25. And then best availability, they're saying in here, is on the Raptor orders will require a mix in the order bank of 70% with the standard wheel and 30% with the optional B-lock wheel, which is a change. It was, I think 70 was 50-50 before, and now it's shift to they need more standard wheel for those Raptors, and then still 50% vinyl, 50% leather. So that hasn't changed. And then it does say limited availability for Sasquatch package. So maybe they are getting close to that 35% for March, and they may not be able to schedule too many more, but hopefully your order will be okay there. So, all right, I think that's it on that. Next is the 24 model year Maverick. Order banks are open up for the Maverick, even the XL, although I wouldn't recommend it. I'll tell you why in a second. There's currently 19,841 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Last week was 19,378, so it did go up, which means we did see more people order this in the last week. Their plan is to make about 8,300 Mavericks, and for the month, the capacity is 55% hybrid which that's been what it has been for the year. 23% XL, which that's been the same number. 47% XLT. So we're talking almost half of the Mavericks being built will be XLT, and then 30% Lariat. So they are scheduling this week at cleanup scheduling. Again, they're trying to take care of any dealers that have available allocations to get them scheduled. They're scheduled for the weeks of March 4th through March 25th. And it did say in here that they did, and I noticed it with us as well, that they're going to add what they call SIM orders. And so a lot of those, the order numbers will start with an S. They're going to add some SIM orders for XLT and Lariat versions. So basically, dealers that have, and they do this because if a dealer has an allocation but they don't have any retail orders, they want to fulfill those allocations. So they'll make their own orders and put them in there. A lot of times as dealers, it's our job to like notice if they do that, to go in and make sure we like the configuration. Because like one of the things that we've noticed is we are struggling to sell the Lariat trimmed Mavericks. We don't want Lariat trimmed Maverick orders. So if they try to slide in Lariats, we want to change that configuration because that's not what we want as a stock order. So anyway, moving on, talking about that limit availability for the XL version. We know that there is on the XL, there's like 13,000 XL orders that are unscheduled in the order bank right now out of 19,000. 60% of the orders, and maybe I'm wrong on my number, maybe it's 11,000. 60% of the orders are XL. So that is something to keep note of and think about. If you have an XL, it might not be a bad idea at this point in time to switch over to XLT. If you think you could afford another couple $1,000s, try to go to the XLT trim. It would probably help you get your scheduled. And when you think about it, at $2,000, about $1,000 of that's your wheels upgrade. So you're getting a bigger wheel, so you really only cost you about another $1,000 outside of the wheel. If you plan to get a different wheel anyway, and there you go. There's a difference. Exhaust availability for the black appearance package, the tonneau pickup box cover, hard trifold one, the splash guards, and the tire that is available on the XL and XLT. So that 225, 65, R17. So unless you go with the optional tire, I think that's the standard tire. If you have, like a different package, like if you have an EcoBoost with the FX4 package, then you probably will be okay. That kind of thing, because that gets a different tire. So there you go. All right. 24 model year Explorer. The order banks are open up. Ooh, they have information in here. Ooh, I don't know if I should share this because they haven't mentioned this. It does say that the order bank is closing February 9th for the 24 model year, and that the 25 model year order bank could open up on February 1st. That's in here from the factory notes. Don't know if I'm supposed to share that. Ford, I'm sorry if I blew something there that I shouldn't have, but probably going to be revealing something real shortly then. Maybe at the auto show at Chicago. Maybe we need to go. Anyway, so there you go. Order banks for 25s coming up soon, being opened up. And then there's currently 197 unscheduled retail orders. Last week there was 174. Their planned production for March is 9,800 units, with 50% of those being XLT. And for this month, something that I, of course, will notice in the notes over there, stop build on the Platinum, ST Line, King Ranch without the tow package. So you need the tow package if you want a Platinum, ST Line, or King Ranch Explorer. And then if you want a limited 300A, you need to take off the tow package. So they're stop build on any limited 300As with the tow package. So that means that they're not going to build them. So if you want a limited 300A, you have to take off the tow package. So shift that a little bit. They are doing scheduling for the weeks of March 4th through March 25th. Cleanup scheduling. So for dealers that have allocations, like I think we have a couple to fulfill. 3.0 EcoBoost V6 engine with auto startup is very limited availability. That is your ST. And then, of course, also for limited availability for the Platinum ST, they call it Trail in here, but it's a Timberline, King Ranch, and ST line. So really trying to get those XLTs scheduled in there. Although it does say exhaust availability for the XLT, and then also the 2.3 liter engine. So They're just trying to fill slots, it looks like. It does say premium wheel. That's optional on the XLT 202A, as well as limited standard on the limited 300 and 301 is exhausted, and then the 21-inch bright machine aluminum wheel that is standard on the platinum. So there's a lot of things that they're trying to fill in just from part constraints. Not all the orders they'll be able to schedule because of that. There you go. 24 model year Expedition order banks are open up right now. There's currently 524 unscheduled retail orders. Last week there were 611. Their planned production for March is 2,500 units. For the month, the note was that the limited 302As would require the sandstone interior, and the platinum would require the 22-inch optional wheel. So keep that in mind. They are doing cleanup scheduling for the production week of March 25th. And then best availability for the short wheelbase would be the King Ranch version, the Platinum version, the Timberline version, the limited 303 or 304A, that's your stealth, and then the XLT version with either the black accent package or the optional 20-inch wheel to be selected for scheduling. So they're trying to fill in those last slots of what they have available. Exhaust availability for the limited 302A, as well as the long wheelbase, that's your Max Link, and your XL version, it says, which is fleet only. And then new availability is the rear seat entertainment system that is now available for scheduling. If you're wanting that, go ahead and add that to your orders. Shouldn't hold it up. All right, next is the 24 model year Mach-E. Order banks are open up for all trim levels, including the GT. There's currently 48 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Last week there were 40. Probably some stock ones got scheduled along with a couple retails. Their planned production is 4,400 units, 55% being extended range, 45% standard range. And it does say in here only certified elite dealers we're going to get allocations for March production. So if your dealer is not an elite dealer, that's probably why they didn't see any allocations. They are not scheduling this week, though, just to keep that in mind. All right. Next, 24 model year Super Duty. Order banks are open up for ordering if you'd like to order. There's currently 20,815 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Last week there was 20,629. I know it looks like maybe only 180 got scheduled. That's not also true because some people probably put in some orders as well. The planned production for March is 18,255 units. And they are scheduling for weeks at Kentucky, build weeks February 12th through March 25th, and for Ohio truck plant for the weeks of March 11th through March 25th. So they are needing some 6.8 liter engine orders, and we're going to talk about some dealer news updates of just because they need those engines scheduled because they have a surplus of those. They're making available on other trim levels. We'll get into that in just a little bit in the dealer news updates. So there you go. And then also limit availability for the F550 chassis cab. Also limit availability for the Platinum version. The 6.7 liter Power Stroke diesel engine and the high output diesel engine, both of those are limited in availability. The tire TGL, which is the 225/70R 19.5 G black sidewall traction tire that's standard on the F450 pickup. And then the 4x4 Dana axle that's optional on the F450, F550, and F600 is limited. The fifth wheel gooseneck hitch prep package, that's 53W. Also, that's and by the way, that is not available with the bed mat or the drop-in bed liner, as they note here, but that's limited as well. The onboard scales and smart hitch, that's a disappointment. That's option 91D. That's optional on the XL, XLT, and Lariat pickups, and not available with the two-wheel drives. And then the lug nut cap that's available on F250 and 450 pickup boxes with the four-wheel drive single wheel with the 20-inch chrome wheels, or the 20-inch polished and the dark carbonized gray alloy wheel. So that, again, that's a part issue. That's a supply issue there on why they can't get those. Also limit availability for the camera harness with the rear view camera. So that's probably the ones that you get on the chassis cabs. And then also the There's a certain instrument panel also that's standard on XL, XLT, and Lariat that's also limited availability too. So they're trying to fill in slots to kind of, it says, please reference the cleanup notes to see the exhausted and best available. So anyway, all right. 24 model year F-150. Order banks are open up right now. They have currently 4,543 unscheduled retail orders in order bank. Last week was 4,333. Their planned production is 31,588. They are scheduling for the week of March 25th. Limited availability for the Raptor R right now. And then it says, I'm not sure what this means. It says no. It's the also limited availability for the 5.0 liter V8 engine, the 3.5 EcoBoost, and the 2.7 with the dual exhaust. So if you're wanting the dual exhaust, that's usually, I think, your black appearance package, if I remember right, has a dual exhaust. So if you have any of those engines, of course, your Power Boost wouldn't have that exhaust. So pretty much it looks like to me that black appearance package is probably what's going to be holding up anything with a dual exhaust in the sense. Also, the option 641, which is the 18-inch black painted aluminum wheel. And then the running boards that are optional on the 101A and the 103A that's included with the 201A and standard on the 301A or higher. Those are also limited, that running board. Little note, I noticed today that Lightnings did schedule. So people have asked about that, if Lightning is scheduling. We had 4 Lightnings scheduled either today or yesterday. I usually don't look at it on Monday because there's usually nothing previewing, but I looked today and we had 4 Lightnings that scheduled either yesterday or today. They were all XLTs and they were all scheduled for the week of March 18th. So you might check with your dealer and see if your Lightning got scheduled. So there you go. And they actually didn't tell us that we were going to have any Lightning allocations for this month. They actually listed as not having any, but we had our 4 scheduled anyway. So that's good news. I mean, people have been asking about, what about Lightning? They haven't been giving us any notes about Lightning, but that was just kind of out of the blue today. That looks like they scheduled some Lightnings. So again, great news. It looks like March production is going to be going there. Last one is a 24 model year Transit. Order banks are open up for that. And by the way, on the Lightning, order banks are still not opened up for that. So they're still paused. And they are paused. They are not balanced out. Some people and some dealers are telling customers that 24 model year Lightning is done. It's balanced out, and that is not true. It does say in WebDo that it's balanced out, but I have in good authority from the brand manager that is just paused for right now. They still haven't given any communication to dealers, so I don't blame dealers for going that route. But I did find out that it's just paused for now, and they will be opening up the order bank. So anyway, all right, 24 model year Transit order banks are open up right now. Currently 6,443 unscheduled retail orders, which is the same number as last week. So I think maybe they didn't schedule. Their plan is to produce 4,500 units. They are scheduled for the week of March 25th. And they are needing certain orders like the Transit versions and some others. Limited availability for the E-Transit as well as the 3.5 EcoBoost V6 engine. So they're needing orders for the 3.5 other V6 engine, 3.5 engine. So there you go. All right. That is all that we have for scheduling there. All right. Got any questions for me? None? Oh, great.
Did you go over XL Pro Power on board?
XL what?
Pro Power on board.
What about it? F-150,
They say
Super Duty?
any information on XL Pro Power on board.
It's not listed as any kind of constraint or anything. Whether it's available on the XL?
I don't know.
I don't know if it's on the. Let me know if it's on the F-150 or Super Duty. I can look up the order guide, but I don't know if you're asking about constraints or whether it's available. You might check out my videos that I did on both the XL and the X for both whichever model you're looking for. I did a video on that, on what's standard and what's available. But
yeah, so I can answer this. I noticed my F350 Platinum trimmer got pushed to 2/12 scheduled production week. Original schedule week was 2/5, moved to 1/29 with a production day of 1/31, and now is 2/12. What would cause such a big movement? They probably just had to move some of their some of the builds around to better go through the process of building.
It could be that suppliers said they were going to have certain options available,
too.
and then they didn't fulfill that.
That can also be a huge one.
Yeah.
Are we doing invoice for F-150 XLT
We're not really doing necessarily invoice, but we are discounting
on the 23s? Yes.
on our 23s. 24s, we're still on orders. We're still doing MSRP on those, I think.
Rough build time for a 24 Bronco Sport.
Well, we saw all the constraints right now going on the 24s. So if you were to order one, depending on the configuration. So again, what was it on? Really, the only thing they're scheduling, it looks like right now, is freewheeling without the convenience package and Outer Banks without the tech package. They're not scheduling Badlands. They're not scheduling Big Bends. So that's very limited on what they're scheduling. So probably looking for April production for to better look at that. So I think they're trying to focus in for March for Maverick a little bit more too, because they're seeing that dealers have a surplus of Bronco Sport inventory, and so I think because of that they're having a slow production, and so that they can maybe help Maverick. But we also did see that Maverick production is pretty low for March as well, because it was 13,000. So I don't know if that means the plant's going to be down in March. They didn't really say.
Yeah.
But it almost looks like the plant might be down because usually the plants will shut down for maintenance for 2 weeks within the year. And so maybe March is that month for Hermosillo. I don't know.
Yeah. Randy says, any news on when Ford will start shipping 24 Rangers?
Okay, so I heard a rumor that media is going to be able to drive it in March, and that they're holding up for that of when they're going to ship them out. I sure hope not. I wouldn't think they're going to hold up because right now they have Rangers that are already built. They started building them in January. It'd be really crazy for me to think that they would have 2 months of production just sitting in a lot, waiting for the journalists to drive them. I mean, surely Ford, you wouldn't be. I mean, hey, I'm one of those. I'd love to be one to drive them, and I'm jealous of the journalists that do. But why would you do that? Why would you make our customers unhappy just so that the media can drive it and they want an unbiased opinion? I get that, but go ahead and get them in the driveways, and I don't know. I mean, push it up. Let the journalists drive them in February. Then let's go.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll see. Surely, I mean, I guess I've never really thought about it in the past of whether or not they did drives before they released the vehicles, but I know on the Mavericks they didn't. Right? They built Mavericks and they shipped them out before media got a chance to drive them, I thought.
Yeah.
But maybe not. And maybe they said it was waiting on the okay to buy, but maybe it was media needing to drive them.
Yeah.
And they just didn't tell us. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a long answer for I don't know. All I know is I can look at our orders and see that they haven't moved from the plant. They haven't shipped out.
All right. Those are the questions I had. So on to
Nothing else on scheduling?
No. Oh,